Hi, this video will demonstrate how to use Canvas to assess course learning outcomes. An advantage of using the Outcomes feature in Canvas, which is listed over on the left-hand navigation, is that students are able to see how they are doing in the course and how they are progressing in terms of meeting the course learning outcomes. So this is a sample of a student's grade book where they could go to their grade section, look in Learning Mastery, and see how they're doing to meet the course learning outcomes. In this case, this is the end of the semester and the student has mastered all of the learning outcomes. So that's one advantage. The second advantage is that as an instructor, you have a bird's eye view as to how your students are performing and how they are doing in meeting the course outcomes, and whether or not you need to add some additional assignments or additional opportunities for students to practice and meet the course learning outcomes. So this is an example of the Learning Mastery grade feature in Canvas. I'll return to this. First, I'm going to start by showing you how to add course learning outcomes to a Canvas course, and then how to add the course learning outcomes to assignments so that as you grade the assignments, you can also assess the student learning outcomes. So from here, the first thing you'll need to do is go to the Outcomes page in a course to add course learning outcomes. And then this is where you will see your course learning outcomes. At first, your course will not have any. I have one example that I have imported into this course. This is one example of a course learning outcome. You have two options for adding course learning outcomes. One, you can add them yourself by clicking on this outcome button here, and you can enter manually the outcome. You can set the rubric for the outcome however you'd like. This here, you could give it points. There's lots that you could do. I'm going to cancel this. A quick and easy way is to use the Find button here. We have already uploaded all of the course learning outcomes to Canvas. So click on that Find button and then click Account Standards and then the Palomar folder and then this last folder here, Course Outcomes. This is where you can find your course outcomes preloaded into Canvas. Start by looking for your division, your discipline, and then you'll be able to see all of the course learning outcomes. So if I click here on my division and my discipline, here's a list of all the courses and all the course learning outcomes. We uploaded these outcomes last year, so if you've made changes, you may need to make some modifications to the outcomes in Canvas. You can always contact us at Learning Outcomes Help if the outcomes need modification, or you can again create your own. So here I am. This is the learning outcome I'd like to add to this course. I found it. I'm going to click Import, click OK. And now I have two learning outcomes in this course. Now I'll show you how to add the learning outcomes to an assignment so that you can assess the learning outcome as you're grading. To add a course outcome to this assignment, I'll click on Rubric, and then I'll click here, Find Outcome. Here are the two outcomes that I've imported. Click on the outcome I'd like to add. This is an important step here. I'm going to uncheck use this criterion for scoring because I really don't want those 5 points to be added to a student's grade. So now you can add more rows here if you'd like to add some of the assignment requirements or other criteria. You could use this feature here to add rows, for example. But as you can see, by clicking on that box, uncheck or do not use for grading that I did on the last page, now these are the assignment requirements, which equal 10 points. So the outcome, the points attached to the outcome do not impact the grade. So if I'm happy with this rubric, before I click Create Rubric, I just want to point out two things. Don't check I'll write freeform, because if you do that, you lose the option to check whether or not the student has met the criteria, has nearly met it, not met it. So make sure that you do not use the freeform when you're using the course outcomes within a rubric. Click Create Rubric, and now I've added that course outcome to the rubric. So you can do this the same for discussion board posts as well as for quizzes. You can add a rubric. So I'll do the same thing again, this discussion board post. I'm going to add the rubric. I've already added one, for example. Also, you can add rubrics to quizzes by clicking on Show Rubric. Then you would add the rubric to the quiz, find the outcome, add the outcome. Again, uncheck, use this criterion for scoring. We don't want it to mess with the quiz score. I can get rid of this row here. I don't need it in this case. I'm going to click Create Rubric. So after a student submits a quiz, you can then check their quiz scores, and then you can determine if they've met the outcome or not. So how do you actually grade using these rubrics? Grade by going to the speed grader. So for an assignment, discussion board, quiz, whatever it is, as you're using the speed grader, a student has an assignment over here, whether it be a quiz, a discussion board, or a written assignment. You'll see here on the right, it says View Rubric. Click there, and that's where you'll see the rubric along with the course outcome. So I can grade the student's assignment as I normally would, and then I'm going to check if they met the outcome, nearly met, did not meet. So all I need to do is just check on the box, click Save, and now it's been recorded. I could go up here and give the student a grade. I could use the rubric to grade as well. So that's it. That's how you assess a course learning outcome as you're grading in the Speed Grader feature in Canvas. So now if I were a student, I could also see how I'm doing in terms of meeting that course learning outcome. Going to the grades section of the course, students see their assignments and how they're doing in terms of completing assignments and grades. If there were a course learning outcome attached to an assignment, a student could look at that assignment, look at the rubric attached to the assignment, and they would see how they did on the course learning outcome here on the bottom. The other option is students can go to the Learning Mastery tab, and this is where they can see their performance on all course learning outcomes. This is an example of a student at the end of the semester. This student can see how they did at meeting all of the course learning outcomes. As you can see here, they mastered all of them. If you click on this arrow, you can see which assignments align to those course learning outcomes. So this is very helpful for students to see their progress in the course. Again, faculty also have access to how students are performing in class based on the course learning outcomes. They can quickly scan from here in the Learning Mastery feature in Canvas. Here is the traditional grades feature that we use. If you click, instead of Gradebook, click on Learning Mastery, you'll be able to see how they're doing on course learning outcomes. You can also export a report in an Excel document that you could use to share information with colleagues or to analyze more in depth. So that's it. If you have any questions on how to add outcomes and how to assess course outcomes using Canvas, please contact us at learningoutcomeshelp@palomar.edu.